All right, guys, take a look at this headline over at the Wine Press. ICE admits to databasing Americans and creating social credit scores. We have a nice little database, and now you're considered a domestic terrorist. Subheadline, ICE is deploying a new tool called Elite, powered by Palantir, to track Americans and illegals using predictive models and scores to determine where someone might travel so ICE can make arrests. Now, I don't know if any of that's true or not. That's just the headlines. But I would venture to guess the technology is there to do it. Let's ask none other than Patrick Wood of Technocracy.news about this. Patrick, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
You bet.
Do you believe that headline and subheadline?
I do. Yeah, it's totally plausible, and I expect it's true. Now, I haven't seen the press release, but you know they're sucking up all the data on Americans they can get their hands on, and every agency in the government is doing their part. We don't have separate databases anymore. We used to. There was all the various databases in Washington, D.C. were siloed. They weren't supposed to talk to each other, like your tax data should not be intermingled with your health data, for instance. But it is now because of Doge and all the Palantir effort to get everything together in one database. So yes, all the agencies in the government are contributing to the master file at this point, and it's an immense effort. When it will be used against us completely is anybody's guess, but it's going to come in the future at some point. It is.
Now, I don't know if did you see my interview the other day with your co-author, Catherine Turner?
I did.
She seems to think that what we're watching in Minneapolis is all part of data gathering. That this is being used to test and gather data and make predictions and whatnot. Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Well, certainly, everywhere and when anybody gets together in a protest, especially, all of their pictures are going to be taken. All the sophisticated tools that Palantir has, they're going to exercise discretion to get all the data that they can. This has been happening for a very long time. You might remember the Jade Helm exercise several years ago. Mm-hmm. It spread from Arizona to Texas. And this was an exercise to gather intel on civilian populations in an urban scenario. And the purpose of doing that was to predict the behavior of groups. This obviously wasn't necessarily successful at that point, but they were gathering, they were doing the exercise, and this is the technology that they're using today. They can predict when any group gets together, small or large, what that group is going to do, and the individuals in the group as well. So, this is just a continuation of a long string of violations, I think, of civil rights for sure, because the people in our community, for instance, they had no clue that the special forces were operating on the streets in plain clothes. They never saw it coming.
And of course, today it may be people that are, out there confronting ICE or whatnot, but how long before they decide that it's the Christian, the conservative, that's the domestic terrorist? We've already been set up for that. So snap your picture, grab your info, digital ID. I don't like what Brandon House said on his show the other night with Patrick Wood. I don't like it at all. That falls into the category of being an extremist, domestic terrorist, potentially. Let's flag his account. I mean, that's where we're going, right?
You know that you're already in that list. You know that. I'm on that list as well, as an extremist. They've already cast the narrative, if you will. We're not. They're not saying at this point, well, we're going to go after them as terrorists or domestic terrorists, but just the fact that they already have the crosshairs on us gives you an idea. At some point in the future, somebody's going to get the wild idea. We need to go after those alternative truthers, if you will, and the Christians, and just take them down.
And of course, the way to go after us today, unlike maybe in the 30s, in a different time, a different place, would be just now to fine us into compliance. Digital ID, social credit score, you're going to shut up. You're not going to say this. Here's your parameters. You know, I don't care if you want to get on TV on your Sunday night little Bible study, Brandon, and you want to teach the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, have at it. But if you criticize the government and you criticize the tech company and you criticize the Islamist and you go after and speak out against the LGBTQ community, you say anything we deem to be political, you're going to have problems. So go teach all the Bible you want to do, House, but here are your parameters. And if we hear you do this again, every time we're going to fine you, and the fines are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you're done. You won't be able to afford to keep your lights on, much less broadcast. That's probably how it'll go, right?
It probably is, but you know, in Canada right now, if you say the wrong thing biblically, even to read a passage out of the Bible publicly, you can be arrested now. So, you know, you're the defense that, well, go and teach your Bible. That's no option for them.
Well, it's going to be you can teach your Bible, but when you get to Romans 1, you can read it, but you cannot add any commentary to it. So if you get to Romans 1 that talks about the LGBTQ agenda, you know, homosexuality, etc., you can read the verse, but you cannot add commentary to it.
There you go. I know that this is where it's headed. You know, we should not be surprised. The God of this world is very clever on how to orchestrate people into conflict. He's very clever at it. And he's doing it right before our eyes. And, you know, at some point, the world is going to really turn upside down. People will be moved into a state of mass psychosis, I think. And there's going to be real chaos at some point.
All right. What do you make of the fact we got gold today at $5,400 an ounce, over $5,400 an ounce, and silver is at, what is it, $116 an ounce? What do you make of that?
Isn't it sweet? You know, I have to tell you, I have this book in my hands right now. I think maybe it'll. Oh shoot! I can't.
Go full screen on it. There we go.
It's called The War on Gold. Can you switch my screen?
Yes, I see it. Yep, got it. The War on Gold.
This is Anthony C. Sutton.
What year was that published?
At 1977. That was the year before that I started working with Anthony Sutton in the first place. This book, it came at a time where there was universal scorn for gold, and it was all being promoted by the banks themselves. And something happened with my picture.
There you go. Now you're back.
Okay. Am I? No, okay. Still reversed. The political class was talking about the war on gold, and as well as the bankers and anybody else in official capacity. They were all declaring gold is dead. Get over it. Get over it. And Sutton wrote. This is interesting. Just on 2026, I just might open the book to this page. He wrote, in a dictatorship, all vestiges of sovereignty have to be consolidated into the hands of the ruling elite. Isn't that just the truth right now? So you see this merging of power into the hands of a certain few in the world, and all of a sudden the lid comes off of the price of gold, and they've thrown the sheets to the wind at this point. And how many articles have you heard or read over, say, the last 50 years on how central banks have been suppressing gold? They've been talking against gold, even as they accumulated gold along the way, massively. But they told you shouldn't do that. So where are we today? Well, the people who have the gold now, and who makes the rules? The people who have the gold. Well, the gold is now migrated into the vaults of the central banks. Voila, voila. And so they're laughing probably. The joke's on you, people, because we fooled you for 50 years and not owning gold in the first place. But now we have the last say, and it's all being accumulated by us.
Yep. Now, I want to ask you about the crisis in Minneapolis. You know, what's going on there and what's happened. President Trump, I think, has been quoted as saying that he thought that Greg Bovino guy was maybe a little over the top, however he described him, if the report is accurate, that he thought maybe that guy was a little much for what was going on up there. His haircut, his attitude, his playing rock, paper, scissors, whatever. His dress with the long coat. I mean, like, again, if you're trying to come out of central casting and look like some kind of jackbooted thug, in my opinion, you kind of played to the part, which is exactly what you don't want to do. It would have been better if somebody was up there with a suit on, an older gentleman, being more of a diplomat, and they went in with full force, right? And I have to wonder if that wasn't done to sabotage Donald Trump, because it seems like everywhere we turn, he's either hurting himself or letting other people sabotage him. I'm trying to see if I could find the quote. Yeah. Okay, this gal is claiming, she's a White House correspondent, Trump on Greg Bovino. Quote, Bovino is very good, but he's pretty out there kind of guy. In some cases, that's good, but it wasn't good here, end quote. Now, if that quote is attributed correctly by Shelby, who is a White House correspondent, I guess, or whoever that is, at Semaphore. This is what we were saying, you know, when I saw this guy. Why is this guy there? This is setting up for failure. I'm starting to think whether, you know, and I don't think Trump is making all of these decisions, but I think that this is all a gigantic setup in order to get everyone worn down. I have friends of mine, you know some of these people, they are, you start talking about this with them, what happened to that nurse, Alex, although the video came out today. I don't know if you've seen the video, by the way. The video came out today with a company that was filming and doing a documentary, and they were filming, you know, this guy. And I guess it came out today and it's going everywhere. The group, here it is. The group was called The New Movement. Have you seen the video?
I haven't.
You haven't? Let me play it real quick, because I think this is a manufactured crisis, okay? And I want to play the video. Here we go. Watch, go full screen. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this. This was like a week before he got shot and killed.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun,
Whoop, there you go. What appears to be a gun
is also visible above his waistband. Here, he continues to stand at the scene. On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Preddy, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations, which concluded that Preddy was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street. Shortly after the altercation we filmed here on January 13th, federal agents drove away. Soon after that, we left the scene.
Can you believe they did not arrest him? And no one shouted, gun, gun, gun. Really? I mean, clearly they had to have seen he had a gun. They had him down like that. But nobody freaked out and said gun, gun, gun and shot him. But I can't believe that they did not arrest him. He should have been arrested. So again, this is why we were being very careful, Patrick. We have been very careful not to try to make this guy into being a saint. Now, the two situations are, they're not the same. They're different situations, different days. The next time they see him, from everything we've seen, unless there's additional footage that comes out, we still have to be careful. He was in the road. He was blocking. He's blowing whistles, whatnot. Lady gets shoved to the ground. He gets pepper sprayed. Lady gets shoved to the ground. He apparently is trying to help her up. He's got his hands up at one point. He's been pepper sprayed. And then they come on dog pile on him. And someone screams gun, gun. One of the agents apparently removes his gun. It apparently misfires. They, think maybe he's got his gun out from another place or that one, and it all goes bad. It all goes south. That's what it looks to be. Now, that video we just saw from, I think he said January 13th, leads us to now know he was more than likely dealing with people that knew who he was. So it is becoming more clear, and I'm not saying that justified deadly force, but at the same time, when someone screams gun, 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 and then they hear a gunshot, this is all happening in real time very fast, okay? So I'm going to be very careful here. But maybe they should have had different people on the street, better trained people. I don't know that ICE is really trained to do this kind of thing as much as go into packing plants and arrest people. But all that being said, I think all of this controversy is being used by someone. I'm not saying who the someone is, but I think this is exactly what they want. And I don't want to keep repeating myself, but this is the Hegelian dialectic. Until the friends you and I have who get very passionate about what happened the second time, the last time when he was killed, they get very passionate about this and angry. And I understand. And these are very conservative people. This thing is now wearing down people on the left, the middle, the right. Sean Hannity's now out saying something needs to change. Trump himself has said, Greg Bovino, he seems a little out there. So even Trump is like, I'm tired of seeing this. I don't want to see this. I want people deported. Yeah. This is to wear us all down. And I'm going to give you a question here, but I want to play a video first. The question is this: is this all to wear us down? Do we all agree there's no way humanly possible to get these people out of here that are illegal? Why would you want, I think it was Rand Paul, who's now saying, why are we going to force people out of here who've been here 20 years, that have a job, have built a business, have built a trade? Maybe the deal should be they never get to become citizens. Never. They never get to become citizens, but they get to stay because they're not criminals in that they broke the law to come here, but they haven't committed crimes after that. They've built a business. They have a job. They've been here 20 plus years. We cut a deal. They get to stay. Okay, well, how are you going to know who those people are? You got a digital ID them. We wear everybody down until people go where they never would have gone before. Listen to what Newt Gingrich said, which I think plays into this, and then I want you to respond.
Process. So I think there are two things. We need a national conversation about what we're going to do about people who've come here, some of them 20 years ago, who've been obeying the law, paying taxes, good neighbors, have kids, go to PTA. Very few Americans want to see the police walk in and pick them up and deport them. On the other hand, people do not want to give them citizenship. So there should be some middle ground here on long-term goals.
There you go. Middle ground. Middle ground. That's what you call the Hegelian dialectic. Now we come to the middle ground. And I'm telling you right now, somebody or a group of people, and I'm not saying Trump, because I think if I were to say, hey, Mr. Trump, do you know what the Hegelian dialectic process is? He would go, no. Right? I mean, I'd be surprised if he did. This is not his area. But I'm telling you, somebody has orchestrated all of this conflict, Trevor. Patrick.
Yes. I accept the compliment.
You're welcome. Would you agree with me? And now the compromise is going to be everybody gets a digital ID.
You know, all of a sudden, all the troublemakers, all the Antifa people in Portland, Oregon, remember how upside down Portland was for all those months and months, right? All of a sudden, just a few weeks ago, all those camps cleared out, and they're nowhere to be found in Portland, Oregon. They all moved. Guess where they showed up now? Minneapolis. That's exactly right. You're talking about a seasoned troublemaker. That's the wrong. These people are anarchists. They're when Antifa was originally a communist organization in Europe. These people have been highly trained to do what they do at this point. When you see the level of orchestration in Minneapolis at this point is unbelievable. How tightly connected these people are, and there's hundreds of them. There's a bunch of them, and they're communicating with Signal mostly, apparently. And they're aware of all the cars in the area that are passing through. They're taking license plate numbers and doxing people, and the level of communication at this point is just over the top. So when we look at this, who would be wanting to make this thing look like a propaganda event? Like Hamas used to do, right? And they're probably going to do it. And again, this is the level of propaganda that has come out of Hamas in the first place, using all these props of people in various positions, and people, children, and all that kind of stuff. This is the type of propaganda that we're going to have in the future, and we see it all over this place. Who would profit at that at this point? Certainly, Antifa doesn't have. These people don't have any conscience what they do. They don't care. They're having fun. They're young people, all of them, and so they're drinking it up at night, and they're smoking something maybe, but they're not the object of this thing. Who's controlling the purse strings at the top? That's my question. I don't know, but they're too highly organized to say it's just a bunch of hoodlums.
Yeah. And now, thesis, antithesis, idea, opposite idea. Chaos brings the change. Chaos brings the change. And now people are tired. They're worn out. They're worn down. Digital IDs, right? And then you let the banking system collapse. You want your money? Digital ID, right? You want to be insured with the FDIC and be made whole? Digital ID. You don't want to? Then whatever you had in the bank, I'm sorry, gone. Digital ID will make you whole. I mean, how much is it going to take?
We have this digital ID system already in place. It's just that you and I don't know our numbers yet. That's the only detail they have.
You're just
withheld it.
You're a ray of sunshine. I'm on a list. You've told me I'm on a list, and they've already got my number. Wow.
Well, I guarantee you they got probably several numbers on you aside from your Social Security number.
Yeah, you're telling me they've already got my ID number picked out.
I know. So here's the thing: when it's appropriate or convenient for them to trot out our digital IDs and just give them, they're already just assigned, they'll just give it to us, and then your option will be, will you download the app on your phone or not? And if you don't, you're not going to get any services, because all services will come through that app in the end. And your digital ID will bring all the information together in one happy master database.
Are we going to be raptured before this?
I hope so.
Me too. Here's Rand Paul.
I know.
Here's Rand. Yeah. Look at this.
You're going to shock you. I'm a moderate on this. I actually think that most of the people that are here and working lawfully and can pass a background check, I would give them no welfare, and I'd give them no citizenship, no voting privileges, but you can work and we won't arrest you.
Okay, well, how are you going to give them no welfare, no citizenship, no voting privilege? How are you going to keep them from getting that? Because they don't get an ID that turns on those rights, all right? Just as they can turn off our rights, they can turn off the rights of the illegals. You can be here, no welfare, no voting, no citizenship. When they swipe their card, you can't come in to vote. When they swipe their card to go apply for welfare, you can't apply. So they can take away the privileges of the non-citizen the same way they're going to take away our rights as citizens.
You're right. And why has the narrative changed in the last 3 or 4 months from getting these criminals and the killers and the rapists and all that kind of rot out of our country? Where was all the talk about making America safe? Well, why now are they going after people that have been here for 20 years? That I don't ever remember that was on the drawing board in the first place.
In other words, we want Tren de Aragua, we want MS-13, we want the hard gangbangers, all of them out of there. And I think they've moved out some of them. But now they're going after people that are women and have been here a long time, and they're not criminals. And they're going after enough of these people, and they're making it into the news that now you got a lot of people crying, literally.
Yeah,
and
literally.
What you're saying is now they've moved to the emotional stories that they need to get everybody to wave the white flag and say, we don't want them out of here. Wait a minute, I thought you guys all voted for this. Well, now we see how it looks. We don't like it. So, we were all big and bad and wanted that. And now we realize how the sausage is made. We don't want it.
Yep. They're going to flip the narrative back on us again, probably. May I say something about concealed weapons permits, by the way? This guy that got shot, he was carrying a gun. He had a permit. They said he had a permit. I didn't see him myself, but that's what they said. And this guy was interacting with a dangerous situation for sure. Anybody in their right mind would have seen that as a dangerous situation. When I went through concealed weapons course when I got my permit years and years ago, they told me, they stressed this to me and other people in the class. When you see a dangerous situation that you know could spiral into trouble, walk away. That's what you do. You walk away from a dangerous situation and don't risk your life over it, and don't exacerbate it, the situation if you're in it. Just walk away. Don't look back. And if somehow you get in bigger trouble than that, you may have to use your firearm to protect yourself. This was totally in the trash can with this guy. Totally. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. He was expecting trouble, definitely, and he was dealing with people who already were armed, The situation could have exploded at any time. And, you know, this goes against any kind of training he had, because he probably had some training before he got his permit. That's exactly what they would have told him. Walk away, find shelter, get behind a barrier or something. You know, if you need to protect yourself, just walk away from the trouble. Don't get in trouble in the first place. This guy was looking for trouble, big time.
And, you know, Patrick, I think that's great advice. I really, really do. I just look at what happened. And I'm thinking to myself, if you know these are federal agents, or you know they're police, and you know they're going to be against you, don't go down there. But if you go down there, don't go armed, so that you can't be accused of anything. He was brandishing a weapon. Okay, he wasn't, but he got accused of it. But if you didn't have the weapon, then they would have a hard time accusing you of brandishing a weapon. So go down and protest, blow your whistle, protest, but don't engage them with a gun. I think it's a common sense thing. And I think his parents told him the same thing. Don't go down there and tangle with these people.
Yeah, he should. He's hiding behind a gun permit at this point as a rationale to carry a gun in the first place. Anybody's going to look at that and be against concealed permit at that point. So many people, even people in the Republican Party, are saying now, well, we have to revisit this whole business. Well, there's no business to revisit, for Pete's sake. This guy was a stark raving idiot for putting himself in the position to lose his life.
And you know what? I have to wonder. And I guess it's just speculation on my part, but he's a nurse. So did he have to have the COVID shot? Did he have all the COVID shots? Did he have all the boosters? Because I just had Nick Olsher on last night, who is now calling this thing a chemical lobotomy. The COVID shots and boosters are chemical lobotomies. And we've got a peer-reviewed study by Nick and Dr. Thorpe and Dr. Peter McCullough that's showing that when people have multiple shots, their ability for discernment, for cognitive ability, even now they can go into depression, suicidal, they go through the whole thing. So is this creating within people a chemical lobotomy where they're now not making rational decisions? And one has to wonder if that isn't part of the goal. Was part of the goal depopulation, sterilization, but also not only depopulation and sterilization, but to lobotomize the people so they do stupid things that justify bigger and more intrusive government?
Certainly could be. I've seen anecdotal evidence of that. I think Thorpe, et cetera, they've applied their discipline to prove it. I haven't seen it, but I understand it, and it's very, very much a real thing.
Let me go to the rest of that clip by Senator Rand Paul and Joe Rogan.
And I give them no citizenship, no voting privileges, but you can work and we won't arrest you.
Okay, no citizenship, but a potential path to citizenship?
I think it's better just to say the trade-off is this, that you came illegally. Right now the law says you got to go back and you'll never get in, basically. So the compromise is you came in illegally, you just don't get to be a citizen, your kids will be. Now the new ones, the 8 million that might have come in last year, some of them need to go back, and particularly any of them committing crimes. The compromise I'm offering is different than anybody's ever talked about. Everybody thinks the compromise has to include voting and citizenship. If in Texas we gave amnesty and let, a couple million people vote, immediately Texas becomes Democrat for the next 20 years. So that's what it's all about. It's about voting. I think some of the best Americans just got here, frankly. They have good work ethic. They're hardworking people. They work in our fields. They pick our tomatoes. They clean fish. They work in chicken houses. They do a lot of the dirty jobs in our country are done by immigrants. So
they also came here with ambition because they want a better life at great peril, at great risk.
And some of them are here illegally. I would have a work program. I'd let them sign up for a work program, pass a background check.
But do you think that they should have to go back home in order to become a citizen? Like if you could show, if some guy came over here 20 years ago, started off as a laborer, now he's a carpenter, he's working for some construction company, but he's an illegal.
Right. Like, the trade is you don't get citizenship at all. Your kids will. I would just say you don't get citizenship. That's your trade-off. Here's an interesting survey. Let's find 1,000 people who are in Texas illegally and do a poll and say, would you accept this? Would you accept that you don't get to vote during your lifetime, but your kids will get to vote if they were born here in exchange for not having to worry about being in a car accident or being sent back to Mexico? I'll bet you 80% of the people who are illegally would take work without citizenship. But you know who wants the citizenship and doesn't care about work? Democrats. All they care about is the voting part.
Wow. All right, so there you go. I don't know. We'll see. But if you want to build a North American Union, who cares if you have citizenship? Because the whole goal of that is you can bounce around as you want. You're still a citizen of Mexico, but you pretty much have the full rights of being an American, minus the ability to vote and get welfare.
And you certainly see the talk about the North American Union surfacing again.
You're going to shock
Oh,
you.
boy.
That was the computer. Sorry. Yep.
This is a repeat. The third time, by the way. We saw it in 2005 with President Bush and the three amigos, Canada and Mexico. We saw it under Obama, and we had vestiges of it a little bit under Biden. But now it's repeating on us under Trump.
Yep.
This is a doctrine that will not go away.
Whew. And most people don't understand it through the lens of technocracy or the Hegelian dialectic process or Bible prophecy, but we sure do, don't we? And this audience does. Let's let's take people to his website so they can go there. It's technocracy.news, technocracy.news. Patrick Wood also has a show on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Logan House, and that airs at 6 p.m. Central, I believe it is, 7 Eastern Standard, Tuesdays and Thursdays, right here on Worldview 2. Patrick, as always, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
Guys, you appreciate the broadcast? Man, we're bringing you lots of great information tonight. Please be sure to go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Check out all the great... Am I Patrick Wood now? Check out all, look at my name's under there, I'm Patrick Wood now. Check out all the great product. There we go. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Check out all the great products there. Numi, Bella Grace, Gatatuna, Bella Melt, the whole 9 yards. Stimulate your body's natural GLP-1. Get your Numi to detox your cells. Oh my, oh my, oh my. What a bad set of news I got last night. Talk about detoxing your cells. How many times have I told you guys, sometimes we have to detox our cells because we're taking in toxins and we don't even know it, okay? Can I let you in on a little secret? I like Tootsie Rolls, okay? I like Tootsie Rolls. And this morning, my wife threw away a big candy, not a bowl, but a jar, a candy jar that included Tootsie Rolls. Because last night I showed her this and I said, tomorrow morning, babe, can you please throw away all those Tootsie Rolls? I hate to do it. But this is another reason why I take Numi, because I need to be detoxing my cells from things I'm taking in my body that I didn't know. Listen to what the First Lady of Florida says is in candy and our beloved Tootsie Rolls.
Through independent testing conducted by certified laboratories, the Florida Department of Health tested 46 different candy brands from 10 different companies. Of those, 33 were traditional, well-known candies, brands that we grew up with, things like Three Musketeers and Snickers and Skittles and Nerds and Kit Kats and Jolly Ranchers. In 26 of the 33 traditional candy brands tested, arsenic was detected at elevated levels.
Arsenic in elevated levels. Why? Why?
These levels are problematic when evaluated over the course of a year, and this is where the distinction is so crucially important. The concern here is not necessarily about one single piece of candy on one single day. The concern is when these products are consumed, as they realistically are, repeatedly over time, exposure can exceed what the Department of Health has determined to be safe annual allotment for arsenic. And here's why the context really matters. Take Nerds, for example. Yes, my daughter really likes Nerds. According to the department's analysis, consuming more than 96 Nerds, the small granular pieces of Nerds in a year, exceeds what is considered a safe annual arsenic exposure for children. But 96 Nerds, as we well know, is not typically what comes in a box when you think about it. A typical smaller box can contain about 2,000. If you get one of those big boxes that you get like a movie theater, that's about 8,000 Nerds. Asking families to stop at 96 pieces over a year is not realistic when it's viewed against how the product is packaged, marketed, and then consumed. Another example to give you context and perspective is Swedish fish. The Department of Health determined that more than 8 pieces of Swedish fish exceed the estimated safe annual arsenic exposure level for a child. Yet in a typical small bag, usually 3 to 5 ounces, there are anywhere from 50 to 100 pieces. Stopping at 8 pieces does not reflect the real-world consumption. The same with Jolly Ranchers. The hard candies also kids love. The department's analysis shows that more than 6 pieces can exceed the annual safe threshold for arsenic exposure. A standard 7-ounce bag typically contains anywhere from 25, 30, 40 individually wrapped candies. And on it goes through 26 different types of candies who tested for those elevated levels that, again, are problematic when you think about them in aggregate. And keep this in mind, too. This is really before taking into consideration aggregate exposure, yes, as you're eating more than the allotment that the Florida Department of Health has deemed in a single serving or in a partial part of the bag. It's also consumed over time more than a year, the candies, but it's also looking as you're eating more candy and then other foods that could potentially contain arsenic as well. Parents and grandparents may not be aware of these potential problems about arsenic. And cumulative exposure is not something that anyone sees reflected on a label or at a checkout aisle. And the context matters, especially for the health and the well-being of our children. And as the Surgeon General will talk about in a second, arsenic is a known toxic element. Long-term exposure, particularly during childhood, has been linked to developmental impacts, effects on the immune system, and increased cancer risk later in life.
So, now another reason why we have the explosion of cancer. And not only adults, but children. All right, look at this. Our good old buddy, Nicholas Hulsher. 60% of childhood candies contain dangerous levels of arsenic. I was tweeting with him today about this. Not tweeting, we call it texting with him about this. Sweet Tarts, Snickers, Skittles, Kit Kats, Nerds, Sour Patch Kids, Twizzlers, Jolly Ranchers, Trolley, Tootsie Roll among the worst offenders. Florida State tested 46 popular sweets. 28 showed elevated arsenic linked to increased cancer risk with repeated exposure. Safe yearly limits for a child based on detected arsenic. I'm going to go to my beloved Snickers, or not Snickers, Tootsie Rolls. 8 pieces a year for a child. 8. Okay, so let's just double it. 16? 16, the safe level of arsenic for an adult let's just double it. 16, I can have 16 Tootsie Rolls in a year. The little small ones, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not doing any anymore. Why would I do any? Do they give any breakdowns for an adult versus a child? Yeah, I think they do. I think they might actually do that. Let's look here. I'm looking for the Tootsie Rolls. There they are, Tootsie Rolls. And it says, what does that say? What is that? Kind of blurry. Child or adult? Ooh, look at that. How helpful. Here we go. All right, so I said double it. There's your Tootsie Rolls. All right, okay, 8 pieces. Looks like that's 8 pieces. Tootsie Roll, 8 pieces for a child, 20 for an adult, because there's the adult. M&Ms. Are you kidding me? Seriously? I don't have those very often, but for a treat every now and then. Risk not identified. Woo! Sweet. I do love Three Musketeers. One of my favorite candy bars growing up. I guess no more of that. Well, I guess we're safe with M&Ms, Logan. All right, see what else? Twix is safe, risk not identified. Milky Way, but Snickers, I love Snickers too. Skittles, I always kind of was afraid of Skittles. Too many colors. I figured the red and all that, those are dyes. So I was already afraid of Skittles. So Sour Pouch Kids, don't care for that. Dots, don't care for that. Tootsie Rolls, love them, no more. Annie's organic bunny fruit flavored snacks, don't care about that. Don't even know what they are. Let's see. What else do we have? What was the other one? What was the other little list they had? Where is it? That's it. Nope. All right, I guess that's it. So there you go, folks. There you go. No more Tootsie Rolls. Thank the Lord we got, at least could save ourselves. Oh, here's the other one I wanted. We could save ourselves on M&Ms. Let's see this one here. That's what we were just looking at. I want the other one. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. So I don't know what that is either. Black Forest gummy bears. I don't know what gummy bears are, but I don't know what Black Forest is. Taffy, nerds. I don't care about any of that. Sweet tarts. Okay. No, I occasionally will get a roll of sweet tarts, maybe once a year. 120 pieces for an adult. I'm not doing that anymore, period. Oh boy, here we go. Woo! Hershey's, we're saved again. Hershey's milk chocolate. Now I will probably do maybe one Hershey milk chocolate, one a month or something. If it's not in the house, I don't have it. So I try to keep the stuff out. But if I see a Hershey bar, I'm going to go break off a square, maybe one. I don't eat the whole candy bar, I break off a square. But look at that, no risk, not, okay, so I'm safe with my Hershey, I'm safe with my M&Ms. Whoppers, now I don't get those very often, but woo, I love Whoppers. Look, those are safe, good. Twizzlers, I always avoided those for the most part, because again, the red dye. It's like, I'm not doing that, red dye, no thank you. Kit Kat, I thought those were probably a little bit lower fat because they're not solid chocolate, but look at that, no, can't have those. All right, so you might want to go to Nick Helscher's page and print that out because now you're going to know what you can and cannot eat. Arsenic, are you kidding me? Now the question is this going to change anything? Is this going to change anything as far as the manufacturing of these? I don't know. But this is another perfect example of why I think you should be detoxing your cells because they tell you guys all the time, we're getting toxins in our system. A lot of times we don't even know it. Oh yeah, now we're finding out even a little harmless Tootsie Roll. Really? All right, so do your Numi every day. You can get that, worldviewtube.com/sponsors with everything else, worldviewtube.com/sponsors, and we'll be right back. Do you know about glutathione? You can't live without it. It's a naturally occurring ingredient in your body. But guess what? It starts to decrease around the age of 20. You need glutathione. There are over 165,000 studies on glutathione at PubMed. It detoxes your cells. And we know there are toxins everywhere. In fact, studies have shown glutathione may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Check it out at swishforlife.com. You just put a small 2 caps in your mouth, swish it for about 3 minutes. Then you can swallow it or spit it out. Studies show that this is in your bloodstream within 90 seconds. It's better than an IV. That'll cost you about $250 and it's broken down. But when you swish with it, it is in your body in 90 seconds in its totality. Glutathione, you need it to live. Swishforlife.com. Swishforlife.com.